What is up, everybody? Welcome back to It's Called Football, the Vendetta Sports Media's only Premier League podcast. I'm Jerry Walker. Alongside me, as always, is Jackson Fyda. Jackson, how are you doing on this Wednesday afternoon?
Doing all right. Doing all right. Have a lot to talk about, so looking forward to it.
Dude, that's not just like our typical one where we have a tiny bit of news, or recap some matches, preview some. We actually have a lot of news.
Yeah.
And I think the one we have to start with is Sandro Tonali.
Mm-hmm.
The newly signed Newcastle midfielder has been suspended for 10 months for gambling on games while in Serie A.
Yeah. 10 months. So he's going to miss the rest of the season and the Euros if Italy qualifies. So that's a huge blow because he's been friggin' good since he's gone to Newcastle. Like he's been, I don't know if I'd say their best player, but arguably their most impactful player in a lot of games, especially in the midfield. He's been bossing it for them. So now they're going to be gone, like down Sandro Tonali for the rest of the year. Like a huge component, not of just their midfield, but of their team. So it's a massive blow if you're a Newcastle fan for sure, because you're in sixth place. They're finally getting things going in the Prem again, and they're on top of their Champions League group. It looks like he's going to be able to play this last game against Dortmund. That's coming up here in less than 2 hours. But after that might be the last time he kicks a ball for 10 months. So that's actually a huge loss for Newcastle and for the Prem, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's massive for Newcastle. I think it's less important in terms of the Premier League season because I do think there might be 4 teams this year that are getting their stuff going and might be better than Newcastle, so they wouldn't be fighting for Champions League. It was the Champions League where I think he's really going to be missed. He had European experience at AC Milan the past couple of years. Obviously, has done really well there. It was very important in their win over PSG. Actually, not even a win, a thrashing of PSG. Now they're going to go down without him. I think, like you said, he'll probably play today against Borussia Dortmund. Chalk that one up as most likely a win for Newcastle. But after that, they could really go and lose the next 3 and potentially be knocked out in the group stage, which would be a massive disappointment considering that all the optimism and hope that they had coming into it.
Yeah, well, it'd feel like a failure at that point because you beat PSG and you tied AC Milan on the road. Mm-hmm. So you set yourself up as well as you really realistically could have hoped for, I feel like. So now if you start losing games because you don't have Tonali, which first of all because of betting, which is I still find crazy. But
here's my big issue with the betting part. Did you see what he was apparently caught betting on?
Games involving his former teams, including AC Milan and Brescia. I saw that.
Yeah, because I've just been reading that, or I had read that he was betting on games that AC Milan were playing, but betting on AC Milan to win. It wasn't like he was betting on them to lose or anything. It seemed like he was betting on them to win games, which you got to back your team. Obviously, don't do it, but
yeah, obviously you can't
backing your team, and it's not like you're going to go out there and try to lose if you're betting on them to win.
No, so it's not as bad, but still, like, it just some of these athletes, man, are just adrenaline junkies.
Yeah,
straight up, and they just love the thrill so much. It comes back to bite him in the ass, and I don't know. I'm not a gambler. I'm not a sports bettor. I don't need to sports bet to enjoy sports, which I feel pretty grateful about. I see our Slack chat every friggin' college football Saturday.
It's crazy.
Going crazy, and they're only talking about spreads and what they're betting and like the teams that they pick to win, which I find crazy. Because I don't give a shit about the spread. First, I'm an Iowa fan. You think I care about the spread? No, I care about the result.
And the over-under.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. I've never understood the whole gambling thing from my point of view. I have friends who sports bet. Don't tell the NCAA. But they sports bet. There's actually a fair amount of college athletes that sports bet. Like an insane amount that sports bet.
I can believe it.
It's a huge part of the culture now, but I just don't. If you're an athlete, I don't know why you'd put yourself in that situation. And I just think there's so many other. Even if you are an adrenaline junkie, go fucking skydive.
Yeah.
Why are you gonna I don't know, because you're always gonna get caught. It's just too easy to catch that shit now. So
I mean,
that's what I'm still trying. I'm just like, dude, what are we doing? You and Fagioli, what are we doing?
yeah, I mean, Ivan Toney's been suspended for gambling. We've seen other players get suspended for gambling in the last few years. It seems like it's happening over and over again. And I wonder if I want to say the Premier League has done away now, or they're trying to do away with gambling sponsors on shirts. But that's also ironic to me. You're saying to all these guys, no, you're not allowed to go and gamble or anything. Yet at the same time, you're like, you have to wear a shirt that advertises sports betting.
That's another thing, yeah.
It's and I think the Premier League has been trying to do away with that, and I think they're getting closer to, if they haven't already agreed for next year to have no betting sites as shirt sponsors. But it's just crazy. Like, why would you risk it? I mean, I throw bets down on college football, but it's like I'll throw $1 on a 20-leg money line parlay just in the off chance that it hits.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I'm looking into detail. I'm like, I think this team will win, upset, and hope for the best.
It's also different because you're not playing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like people who do play.
I know he didn't bet on his team losing, which fuck if he did, lock him away and throw him away. But like
that's where.
But like why would you ever bet on your own team? Even if you're going to gamble, I don't understand why you would ever put money on your own team. Even if you're gonna win, that's when it looks so scummy. So I don't know. That's just when I saw all this stuff come out, I was like, well, what are we doing? Like it was like with Ivan Toney as well. I've never understood the desire and the need to gamble when you're a professional athlete because you're living that adrenaline experience and you're part of what people gamble on. You get to live it. So I don't know. I've just never understood why these athletes are gambling. I know it's like the adrenaline junkie thing just hits. And some people, it is like an addiction, and I feel really bad for people who are addicted to it. I just still can't personally fathom it.
Yeah. I want to get the one final point I want to make on this is I want to know how much he's betting and how much he would be winning.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting paid $55 million. He signed a £55 million contract. So is he throwing like a couple mil on it? Or I guess, was he throwing a ton of money on it when he was in Italy? I know Italy obviously had the mafia at times, so I wonder if he got
involved
with the wrong people.
He's got that look about him, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does as well. Just the kind of
stash,
stash. I mean, I know we've seen that in other sports in the U.S. in times past, but I wouldn't be surprised if somehow he got involved with the wrong people. You see that now, but it's a bad situation, and Newcastle are the ones taking the brunt of it.
Yeah, dude, I've been watching too much Sopranos recently. You got me thinking way too much now. Way too much.
Exactly. I want to move on to some other news, a little on the sadder part. So Bobby Charlton died this past week, the former Man United and England international. Great career, 606 appearances for Man U, the midfield and forward. Scored 211 goals in his career. Do you know much about Bobby Charlton? Or
I know enough to know that he's famous as hell and he was knighted.
Yeah.
Pretty hard to be knighted, especially considering he's an athlete. So, I mean, that just shows his incredible contribution, not just to the game in England, but to the game all around the world. So, I do believe he's one of the most famous Premier League players in history. So, well, not Premier League, but English players in history. So,
Premier League as well.
Yeah, to lose him. Yeah, no, huge loss. Did live a pretty good life though.
Yeah, 86.
Yeah.
Won a World Cup.
Yeah, he did.
One part of the England 66 team. And honestly, there's also a point where he was almost could have died earlier in his career. Playing for Man United in 1958, a Munich air disaster. He was one of the few that survived that. So kind of lucky to keep going as long as he did. Fortunate for him, but everyone's time runs out eventually. Scored 49 goals in 106 caps for England, which, thinking about that, that's actually pretty remarkable.
third highest goal scorer in history, in
Yeah.
English team history. Who's ahead of Harry Kane and
Wazza. Wayne Rooney with 53, Harry Kane with 61.
yeah, Wayne Rooney broke a lot of his records as well. So
God, weird. Wayne Rooney seemed like the guy. He was going to be the guy for a while, and then kind of just never really got that next step for England.
Was that all Wayne Rooney, or was it more just England around him though?
A little bit of both, but I mean, around him at times it was Beckham, Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard. It wasn't like it was terrible. I guess the defense was more of the big issue, and they were conceding goals. But
yeah, I don't know. I just feel like you guys always underperform.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, straight up, you have all the talent in the world, just don't ever get it done.
Hey, fingers crossed. The 19, soon to be 20 or 20-year-old now, I think, Jude Bellingham.
He scored again yesterday.
Of course he did. He's insane.
That's 11 goals in his first 12 games.
Jesus.
That makes no sense for a midfielder.
Yeah.
A midfielder in a new country as well. It's not like he's been there. It's a new country. Not even like a new team. He went to a friggin' new country and he scored 11 goals in 12 games. It's actually absurd.
Remarkable. And I mean, those are all La Liga goals, or is it
Champions League and La Liga?
Also, okay. Yeah. Oh, I guess yesterday was Champions League, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's insane. I mean,
he's leading the Golden Boot in the Liga right now with 8 goals.
Yeah.
He's got Griezmann, Morata, Joselu, Lewandowski, although he's hurt, but
for example, I'm trying to see who the highest goal-scoring midfielder is in the Premier League. No, Jared Bowen's a forward. Ollie Watkins, Douglas Luiz are forwards. Oh, it's Brian Mbeumo for Brentford. Plays a little bit more in the midfield. 5 goals.
He's good, though.
He is very good. Making up for – imagine if they had Ivan Toney still. The two of them would be combining. We'd be seeing a Son and James Madison-esque thing there.
Yeah, going back to that whole gambling thing, what could have been?
Could have been.
Also, I just realized we're talking about Sir Bobby Charlton, and somehow ended up talking about this, but
we were going with England. We brought up the England goals, and then here we are.
One of those days.
No, it is indeed, but it is sad. Bobby Charlton is dead at 86. World Cup winner for England. But on to the Premier League. Yeah, we then got talking about Jude Bellingham and his goals, and that's got me into the goals here.
I don't even know. That was
yeah, it was quite a jump right there. Guy extended his lead at the top of the Golden Boot race in the Premier League. Erling Haaland, Man City, finally get a win.
Mm-hmm. And you figured it was coming.
Yeah.
Like you figured they would eventually figure it out. First of all, Haaland's goal. I know that they gave the ball right to him. Brighton did. But to take it like that, put it on his left foot and strike it from, 25 yards out-ish?
Something like that.
Perfectly placed. Great goal. I mean, we talk about him lacking in the goal-scoring department compared to what we would expect, and he's still leading the friggin' Golden Boot race. And it doesn't look like anyone's going to even get close. That's just how good he is, that we expect him to score not 1 but 2 goals a game. Like, I find that absurd. But, yeah, he and Alvarez, man, those two up top together are terrifying because Alvarez got the first one as well.
And it only took him 7 minutes to do so.
Yeah. He's been having a good year as well. How many has he got?
He's had a very, very, very sneaky good year.
Yeah. He's popping up both Champions League and Premier League quite a bit.
He has 4 Premier League goals.
Yeah, decent.
He has total. What does he have Champions League wise? He's got 1 in the Champions, or he's got 3 in the Champions League.
Yeah, 7 goals so far for him. Yeah, pretty decent. Now Real Madrid's interested in him as well, so could be interesting to see if he decides he doesn't want to be in Haaland's shadow. But those two right now are working really well together.
Yeah, I mean, that was going to be the big question when we first saw Kevin De Bruyne go down, was who was going to step up in that kind of center midfield role, the attacking side of things. And Julian Alvarez has been the perfect fit.
Oh,
so
yeah.
He's clicking Foden and Doku on the wings, Haaland up top. holding it down. He's really proven why he was a key member of that Argentina World Cup winning team and why he deserves to be a starter. This is the kind of thing where I don't know. I know De Bruyne is out, but this is Man City's issue is they have guys who can impact it so well every aspect of the game, no matter if you're a starter off the bench. This is the thing because say De Bruyne comes back, you're not going to bench him. I don't think you
benching Alvarez.
Oh yeah, not benching Alvarez. You can't bench De Bruyne either. I don't think.
Oh yeah, you're not benching De Bruyne, not benching Alvarez. He's going to have to find a way to move both of them together, which means Foden probably doesn't play.
Would you go with Foden or Doku to stay?
I'd rather have Doku personally.
Yeah.
It depends on the game, actually.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can bring Doku in off the bench with about 25 to go, and he will just terrorize defenders who are a little bit more tired with his pace and trickery. So I feel like it's a game-by-game basis, but, dude, Doku just has that flair and excitement and unpredictability. But Foden also has been class pretty, recently. So I think it would depend on the game and what you want and what the other team has. If you're going against, Achraf Hakimi playing against PSG, I think he honestly might be able to deal with Doku better than he would Foden just because of the whole pace aspect. So that situation, you'd play Foden. But if you're going up against,
say I may do this weekend,
if you're going up against them, if you're going to be fair, Dallow's got some pace as well, but I'd still back Doku in that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends on a game by game basis.
Those weird ones because you have these, I guess, 4 guys plus Jack Grealish, plus God knows who else they can bring in for that midfield.
Dude, Grealish has kind of just been kicked to the curb a little bit recently.
He really has.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's still just hungover from the treble celebrations. Honestly, wouldn't surprise me one bit. He seemed like himself a great summer.
Dude, Buddy loves to party.
Oh, I
freaking loves it. Which, to be fair, I mean, it's not like losing brains. So
him and James Harden would be great friends.
Oh yeah. Hopefully, I do love Grealish, so I hope he kind of gets things going again on the field. Because I do think he's genuinely a good human being as well, despite all the flack he kind of gets. God, he is so stupid. He's just not a very. Thank God soccer and his looks worked out for him because otherwise he would be screwed, man.
I mean, but think about that for so many other players. Think about Messi. He gave up school at 15 to go travel halfway across the world and kick a ball around.
He's also literally the most awkward human being on the planet Earth. So if he didn't have this,
if it failed somehow, he would have been in trouble.
I would wonder about that. Some of these players, they didn't make it big. What would they do?
No.
That's why I'm in college, because I knew I sure as fuck wasn't going to make it big.
Hey, not yet.
Not yet.
Leading Bradley to a national title.
Yeah, and then we'll be in the Prem.
Yep, right from there. Promotion to the USL 2. Bradley gets promoted. Wouldn't that be wild? You could promote, now with NIL, promote college teams to semi-professional, professional level.
Dude, Football Manager's got different game modes like that. I've done it.
Do they really?
Yeah, they've got Pro Rel in the U.S. with some college teams thrown in. I played that one once.
Dang.
Yeah.
What a game. Otherwise, back to Man City and Brighton. Yeah, we're just getting off on tangents.
We're talking a lot today.
Good ones. But Ansu Fati gets the goal for Brighton, make it 2-1 in the 73rd, and they put the pressure on Man City, forced Akanji to get a red card after his second yellow. Grealish came on in the 75th and immediately got a yellow 7 or 8 minutes later. It looked like Man City felt that pressure, but they did just enough to hold on.
Yeah, it's because they started off so strongly. So, once you have that 2-goal lead, especially early, you kind of can just marshal the game a little bit at that point, and they did a good job of it because, Brighton actually played pretty well. City still had most of the possession, the shots, all that stuff. But Brighton was able to get 3 on target, only lost the possession battle 45-55, which is really not that big of a difference.
No, not at all.
Really not. And they 87% pass accuracy, 506 passes completed. Like they were stringing along a lot. Like most teams don't do that against City. So I'm gonna give Brighton a deserved applause for that.
Little golf clap.
A little golf clap.
But the other thing in this one I just want to bring up, Rodri was back. No wonder they won.
There we go.
Significant difference when Rodri was not playing to when he is. And now he's back. I fear Man City is going to start getting their groove back and continue to run the table.
You and me both. You and me both.
In the meantime, we did have a really exciting match by one of the teams also in that top part of the table, tied with City actually, Arsenal. Arsenal-Chelsea finished 2-2, and I'll let you talk on this one more on the Arsenal side, but Chelsea came out quick. Cole Palmer scores a penalty 15 minutes in. Second half, Mudryk gets a goal, so it's 2-0 Chelsea, 48 minutes in, and you're thinking, this might get out of hand because you've said it on this show before, Jackson. First 5 minutes of the half, last 5 minutes of the half. If you can get goals in those, it's a major momentum swing. And they scored 3 minutes into the second half, which I thought that match was over at that point.
Oh, I did too. Especially because you go into halftime, you make the adjustments you need, tactical, and kind of just in your general attitude and what you're trying to do. So you make those changes, and you see your team get scored on 3 minutes later. It kind of all goes out the door because not only did they just score, but yeah, you need not just one goal, but you need 2 goals to get a point. So at that point, I thought it was over, like 100%. I called it as well in our last week's show. I was like, Chelsea's going to win this game. I have that gut feeling that they're going to do something here. And I was like, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep, called it. It's going to happen. And then, for whatever reason, Sanchez decided to gift us a goal.
Yeah, that was a huge mistake. Great finish by Declan Rice, though.
God, perfect curve into the bottom corner away from him.
Yeah.
The technique on that is actually incredible. Like, watching the replay back, I was like, that's insane because not only did he finish it, but he finished it in a way that he had no chance because it was curving away from him. He had no chance whatsoever to get to it. So he does that. Gift does a goal, and then just a few minutes later, 7 minutes later, 84th minute, Trossard able to get on the end of a soccer cross. Just kind of walked into the back post there. 2-2. So from a Chelsea perspective, this feels like a loss because you're up 2-0. You're the better team. And then one mistake with 13 minutes to go plus added time suddenly changes the game. And Arsenal's able to get momentum, get the second goal. Mm-hmm. You miss out on 2 points that would have been huge because it's not just 2 points. That's 2 points against a team that was tied for on the top of the table heading into that game. So that's not only just 3 points won, that's 3 points against a team that's pushing for the title. That's a huge momentum boost. For Arsenal, this is a win, even though it's a tie, because you're down 2-0. You're playing like shit. Somehow Mudryk scores a freak accidental cross that goes in.
Mudryk's just getting hot at the moment.
No,
he's going to score more somehow.
Even ever since he won that crossbar challenge against Pochettino, he started scoring goals.
That's very true.
Weird little things that get players going, but yeah, that happens. You're thinking if you're Arsenal, like, this isn't our day. We're not playing well. Look at this. Mudryk just scored a freak goal. They had a penalty early on. Like, this is just how it is. This is just how it's going to be in this game. But you found a way to get one goal and to get the second goal. That's a win because you get a point. So, obviously, if you're Arsenal, you wanted 3 points. If you're Chelsea, you really wanted 3 points. But Arsenal's going to come out of this game definitely more happy. Mikel Arteta is going to be not thrilled with the fact that they gave up 2 goals, but he's going to be thrilled with the attitude and the desire of the team to not give up, to keep fighting, and to get a point out of it. Because, like I always say, the sign of a good team is a team that can win even when they're not playing well. Mm-hmm. This, to me, is a win for Arsenal. They found a way to get a point down 2-0 with 15 minutes to go. So, huge result for them. If you're Chelsea, you're left wondering what could have been. Why the hell did Sanchez play the ball like that? Why didn't he just clear it? And you're not back to ground zero, but you just fall back down a little bit because you're this close to doing something great, but just little stupid mistakes. And then Gusto falling asleep on the second goal, just letting Trossard waltz in and tap it in. Just little mistakes, little lapses just cost you. So I don't know. For them, I feel like they're definitely hard done by it because I thought they deserved to win up until the final few minutes. So I don't know. Good result for Arsenal, bad result for Chelsea at the end of the day.
Was. And I want to just talk on something I saw on social media following that in the day after. So Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher were breaking down Declan Rice's goal. And the way they showed it was it looked like he was going to shoot it around, but it was straight up. He curved between two defenders where he was almost kicking it towards out of bounds and just curled it, which that just made that shot even more impressive and just the absolute top.
Wow.
Yeah, one time, perfect goal. Might be goal of the season thus far.
Nah.
There's some other ones, but
it's a good one, though.
It is. Moving on to another, as that was a London derby, we have a Merseyside derby. And I think we both predicted this one pretty straightforwardly. 2-0 win for Everton, and it was Mo Salah who scored both goals.
Yeah, I forget what we said the final score prediction would be, but we both said Salah would score.
Yeah.
He always scores in this derby. I don't know what it is, but he's always up for it. And, yeah, they did what everyone expected them to. 2 goals, Salah penalty, and then he scored again the 97th. Everton did fight.
Yeah.
They were in it till the very end. But, yeah, Liverpool's just better. Everton's not that good of a team right now. So, yeah, pretty straightforward. We figured it would happen.
Yeah, and Everton were playing with 10 men from the 37th minute onward after Ashley Young got 2 relatively quick yellow cards.
Mm.
So they were on the back foot. They brought off Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the 61st. That's really their only chance of scoring goals at that point. You had a feeling it was at best going to be a 0-0 draw for Everton.
Yeah.
Sure enough, Mo Salah gets 75th and then 97th minute goals to seal it. But Liverpool was definitely the better team on the day. 77% possession, 6 shots on target to the 1 of Everton, 12-4 on corners. It was kind of just pure domination for the red side of Liverpool.
Yeah, that red card, though, from Young, you expect better from him considering his experience, knowing how big this game is, because as soon as he goes out, complete domination from Liverpool. So, again, Everton fought. We knew they fought, even down to 10 men, but you put your team in such a bad spot when you go and do that. So, I don't know. Seeing that Ashley Young, of all people, someone who has been in so many very big competitive games with a variety of teams across the world, not just in England, you'd figure that he wouldn't be the one to do it. So, I feel like that. I still think Liverpool would have won.
Oh, agreed.
Oh, man, he made things really, really hard on his teammates.
Oh, he definitely did. And it's been a tough time for Everton in the recent months, or actually this entire last season and a half. It seemed like it's been a brutal stretch for him. But I want to just talk on one more guy in this one who made another impact. It was Darwin Núñez. Continued his success and impact of play. Came on in the 62nd minute, got the assist on Mo Salah's second goal. It's kind of worked out perfectly for him. And do want to say on the other side, we talked about Bobby Charlton dying. The Everton chairman died on the 23rd, so died 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Just after 2 days after watching his team lose, so maybe this was the cause of his death. Everton losing. Tragic for them, tragic for the fan base, but
rough time to be an Evertonian.
Yes, it is. But no, I mean, Darwin Núñez, we've spoken about him in the last couple episodes. He's just turned it around so much.
Yeah.
He's just superb in recent weeks.
Yeah, ever since Bielsa took over. I remember you brought it up, and again, just like Mudryk, it just takes the little things. Just takes one little thing to get players' confidence back. It's true because, I mean, professional soccer players, just any professional athletes in general, the confidence is key. And it's so many athletes just have such fragile bits of confidence, myself included. It just takes one thing to break it, but then it just takes one thing to fix it.
Oh
So
yeah.
it looks like Bielsa managing Uruguay and having time to talk with Nunez and help him out through things has really just kind of propelled him to be the player that Liverpool expected him to be. He's not quite there yet, I'd say, but he's getting damn close.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just more impressive each week with him, and it makes Liverpool much more exciting to watch this year than they were last year. Where last year it was kind of more just funny to watch Liverpool play at times, where it was missing open shots or crossing the ball 40 yards over the guy it's intended for. It was just everything that could go wrong for them last year seemed to in matches when they needed it to go right in the most. This year they're kind of finding that groove and getting it all going.
Yeah, they're in fourth place right now.
Yeah, I do want to talk about that team in fifth place because I think this might have been the biggest shock, not necessarily an upset, but Villa were playing West Ham and it was 4-1 Villa. It seemed like pure domination by the home side. It makes it 12 straight wins at home. Unai Emery has turned Villa Park into an absolute fortress, and it's not like teams are really having any success there.
No, they're not. And heading into this game, I forget if we said Villa would beat West Ham or not, but I thought West Ham would put up more of a fight.
Yeah.
Like I thought Villa was going to win, but West Ham in general this year has just put up more of a fight. And to be fair, statistically, they weren't that bad. 14 shots, 4 on target, only 41% as a possession, but they've had plenty of games where they've had less and they've gotten results. So when you look at that, you're like, if you were to solely look at that, you're like, that's really not that bad, especially considering they're on the road. But 30th minute, Douglas Luiz gets a goal, gets another one with the penalty in the 52nd. At that point, you're down 2-0. You get one back with Bowen. Then the Ollie Watkins goal in the 74th kind of just –
that was a dagger.
Yeah, I coasted through in the Leon Bailey 89th minute goal, final nail in the coffin. But it just, I don't know. West Ham has looked so much better this year in such worse circumstances where they defended better, but they didn't do their job today or on that day. And Villa, like you said, is a completely different team under Unai Emery. Yeah. They don't just have better players, but they play in a much better style. Offensively, very, very good team, and they took advantage of a West Ham who was feeling a little leaky in their back line. So they just took full advantage. And, they're flying right now. They're in fifth place with 19 points from 9 games. So they're having themselves a pretty decent year.
I mean, I'm correcting myself. It's 11th straight home win in the Premier League, and I wouldn't be surprised if they make it 12 straight. Playing home to Luton this upcoming weekend, we're picking pretty much every time we have a Luton match on our board, we're picking the other team to win it one way or another. But they also have a big match in the Europa Conference League coming up tomorrow, away to AZ Alkmaar, who they've been on fire recently. They've won like 4 straight matches in all competitions, kind of dominating the way. So that'll be an interesting one to see how Aston Villa does on Thursday in the Conference League. But really, back to this one, it was just pure kind of domination for the most part. It wasn't like the possession, like you said, was super one-sided like we saw in that Liverpool-Everton one. It was just they looked so much more clinical and were creating chances and taking advantage of them because both teams only missed 3 chances. Didn't score on 3 chances. The only difference is Villa had 7 of them, West Ham had 4.
Yeah.
So it's really not quite that close when you look at it, and it's something that I'm amazed how well Villa have done this year. You have a question in a second, but I don't want to talk just on the West Ham thing. Jared Bowen, outstanding this year.
Oh, he's been so good.
Taking another huge step forward. He's got 6 goals, 4th in the Premier League with that. think he got an England call up recently. Everything's going his way at the moment.
Do you think season ends now. Think he makes the final squad for the Euros? You taking him? Serious question.
Season ends now, yes. I would take him because I think he would be a good player off the bench. And considering I'm sure someone's going to get hurt relatively soon, it's more so with that. But that's the issue. That's the issue that any younger English forward is. The forwards on England are stacked, and Southgate's very set in his way of his guys and keeping the team kind of the same over and over again. Which I get chemistry-wise, that's a smart move. It keeps everyone on the same page. Everyone's played with each other. That's why he keeps Harry Maguire around, Calvin Phillips around. It seems, but Jared Bowen, and then why am I blanking on his name? Who's the midfielder who we've spoken about before? Not James Maddison.
James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah, James Ward-Prowse, who he's taken a bit of a step back recently, but I still think he could deserve a call-up at some point.
I don't think he'll get it, though.
Don't either.
Don't get me wrong. I think in terms of playing merit, he does. Yeah. But who's he going to replace? If Calvin Phillips goes for that chemistry reason, he's not going to replace him. Declan Rice is good. Bellingham's good. You're going to have Henderson because he's your vice captain.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to take Conor Gallagher over him anyway.
Okay. Yeah,
and even if you don't take those guys, there's also Mason Mount, who, don't get me wrong, has had a shocker of a year. But do you bring him just because he has big tournament experience with the World Cup?
The other ones who, looking at the midfielders for this last one, apart from the ones you've mentioned, did you mention Trent is now playing in midfield? Yeah. So him, Declan Rice as well. It's like you're not going to replace any of those guys, really.
Yeah,
the only one I would say potentially maybe Conor Gallagher, depending on how he does the second half of the season with Chelsea. Maybe Calvin Phillips if he doesn't play, but it sounds like he's going to make a move in January and start playing consistently in preparation for the Euros.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jordan Henderson, but you're not going to get rid of Jordan Henderson because he's the vice captain and he's been there forever.
He still does bits on the field as well, usually. So
yeah, for England he does.
For England, yeah.
You know how he's done for Al Atifak. I must say I have not paid a single bit of attention to the Saudi league now that everything else has come back. It's
dude, I don't care.
Every weekend I'll see, Ronaldo's done something. Ronaldo scored. Yeah, no shit. The rest of the teams are terrible.
Yeah, that's all I see too.
And then Neymar tore his ACL, so whoop-de-doo.
Yeah. That league feels fake to me. It just everything about it's just so
doesn't feel like a real league. I don't even know who's leading the league at the moment. Let's see what the current table is.
Hopefully not Al Nassr. Hopefully not them. That'd be funny.
It would be. I wouldn't be surprised if it is though. Table there it is. Al Hilal.
Oh, okay.
Even without Neymar, they're leading the league by 3 points over Al Tawon, who I don't even know if they signed any major team, and then it's Al Nassr following up.
Let's look who's on Al Tawon. Yeah, they don't really have anyone of.
You don't. Hey, this is the team I want to win it. I'm pulling for them to win the Saudi Pro League now.
Yeah, because they just have normal international players. Yeah. They don't have these superstars. So yeah, dude. I'm all in on the Al Tawon bandwagon. Let's get it done.
That's right. But looking at, were there any other matches that kind of stood out to you this past Premier League weekend? Because there's not a ton for me. Maybe Tottenham winning 2-0 over Fulham to guarantee that they're in first place. But even then, that's more of James Maddison and Heung-min Son just continue doing what they had to do.
Yeah, apart from that, there really wasn't too much really to talk about. I mean, Forest tied Luton 2-2, so Luton picks up a valuable point.
Yeah. I did actually have a question I wanted to ask you about. We could talk about that Luton one in a second because that was an exciting match. But how legit do you think Aston Villa are? Like, they're fifth place right now. Do you think we could see them keep it up? Do we think they could reach a Champions League spot? I feel like fifth is kind of their peak at the moment. I think that'd be about their ceiling.
I think they could push. I just don't think they're going to have enough about them to beat the good teams when it comes down to it. I think that they'll beat the teams that they should beat, and that's huge. That is why they're going to be back in Europe again next year, which I'm already going to say the way they're playing right now, considering they have European matches and they're traveling to Poland, traveling to where's the other team from? I forget where the other team's from. Somewhere away, not the Netherlands. I think it's
Bosnia. I want to say
somewhere like that. So they're having to go a fair distance on Thursdays and then play games at the weekend. They're doing remarkably well, all things considered. So I've been very impressed about that because I thought they would have a little bit of a backward step.
Yeah.
But in terms of getting Champions League, I don't think they'll get it. I think they're a year away from being competitive enough to get it.
Agreed. It's gonna be. I feel like they could, but I also feel like I said, same thing with Newcastle and even other teams at a point. I think there's 4 teams that are better than the others to an extent. So we'll see.
Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham, City right now are better than they are. So if they want to get into that top 4, they would have to somehow become better than one of those 4 teams, and they're not going to be better than City.
No.
Right now, they're not going to be better than Tottenham and Arsenal. And Liverpool looks really good. So
it's going to be interesting to see because Villa, looking at their upcoming fixtures, that's very, very, very favorable. They play AZ Alkmaar twice, both in the Europa Conference League. Then they're home to Luton, at Notts Forest, home to Fulham, at Tottenham. So really, Thanksgiving weekend, November 26th, that Sunday, is going to be their one at Tottenham to see how they really compete with the rest of these top dogs.
Yeah, but they've got a month to prepare for that.
Damn. Then they play home to City and Arsenal in a 4-day stretch.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so they go to Tottenham and then host Arsenal and City.
Yeah, so at Tottenham, home to Warsaw in the Conference League, at Bournemouth, and home to Villa and City. Or City and Arsenal. Yikes.
So they got to pick up the points they need now.
Yes, they do.
I think we're going to have a better look at this, I think, heading into the January transfer window. Right now, we're still so early in, even though it feels like we've been doing this for so long, and we've on episode 10 of It's Called Football, we've only played 9 games.
Yeah, it seems like we've played so much more.
We have so many more games to go. We have got 29 games left. So
a lot can happen.
Yeah, a lot to go, but I think just kind of summarizing it all up, I think Villa can. I just don't think they will ultimately. But they could very well prove me wrong. They could very well prove you wrong and just go ahead and easily secure top 4. Who knows?
Yeah. And if you guys are watching this, if you're a Villa fan and want to call us out on it, say we don't know what the hell we're talking about and Villa are going to make Champions League, let us know.
Please.
We're here to hear it.
Please do.
Moving on to some matches this week. I think it's a pretty straightforward match of the week. Manchester Derby, Man U, Man City at Old Trafford. What are you looking for in this one? How do you think he gets done? Because Man U had a massive win yesterday on the Champions League on Wednesday, beating Copenhagen 1-0 to kind of almost save their Champions League campaign. And it was the 2 enemies of the fans, Harry Maguire getting a late goal and then Andre Onana saving a 97th minute penalty to all of our disgust.
As big of a win as that was, they looked so bad in so many stretches of the game, so many facets of the game. I mean, Copenhagen hit the post early on. I just think United's defense looks very shambolic. I'm happy he's playing well. I really am. I think Harry Maguire, not Harry Kane. Harry Kane's a love and life right now. Harry Maguire has been, but Maguire has been through so much shit that I'm happy to see him playing well. But even he had an absolutely horrendous moment at one point early on where he went to tackle and just completely missed it, and Copenhagen was able to get in. They barely beat the bottom team in their group at home. So and I see them in the Prem, they don't look very good. When Scott McTominay is saving you in the 90th plus with 2 goals, that's an anomaly. That's not going to happen all the time. That means you're in a bad spot and you got saved by the craziest shit. Because if you told me Scott McTominay had scored 2 goals at that point, I would have called you fucking crazy.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't think they've looked very good. City is starting to look very good again. They have Rodri back. They have Holland scoring goals. Alvarez is an absolute baller. Depending on who they start, they have Doku, Foden, Grealish, all those guys. They don't have a Kanji, so they're going to not be starting him, but whatever. You just switch someone else back in there. Good to go.
You just throw anybody else in.
Yeah, you can move Vardiol back in there. Ake, Stones. You still have freaking Diaz. Like, they're going to be fine there. But it is the Manchester derby. So that changes things because when you have these big derby matches, it doesn't matter where a team is, I feel like, in the league. Because on the day of the game, all they care about is not just beating, but humiliating, if possible, their opponent. Because there's that much hatred.
I mean,
I see United winning.
You see City winning?
I see United winning.
Oh, you see United winning.
Despite how bad they've been this year and how poorly they've looked, I still don't think they're a very good team right now. I think Ten Hag has a lot to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
More off the field news than they have on the field news. So they have all this shit going on, but I think they're going to be up for this game. I think the fans are going to help, and I think they're going to get over the line with that. I think they'll get the win. I think they scored not just 1 but 2 goals as well.
So 2-1 result? Is that what you're thinking? Right. So kind of like what the last time these two teams met in the Premier League was, and that was a crazy match in its own right. Once again at Old Trafford, Man U won 2-1, but it was a 78th minute equalizer and an 82nd minute winner for Man U. It's that crazy one where Bruno scored and then Rashford scored. I don't think it happens this time. I think Man City, now that they have Rodri back, they've already lost their couple games in the season so far. They're going to be determined to go out and win. Last year, the first time these two played, it was 6-3 thrashing.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, it was at the Etihad and not Old Trafford, but I am still backing Man City in this one. Probably going to go 3-1.
All right.
I do think they win, and I think they win relatively comfortably because I don't know how much I trust that Man U back line against
I don't either. But
and Alvarez and Rodri's back, so I'm kind of like, yes, it's going to be okay for them. Even looking at it, this is just the back four they played against Sheffield United in their last Premier League match. Lindelof on the left, Maguire and Johnny Evans in the middle, and Dalot on the right. If I'm Man City, I'm looking at those two right in the middle, and I'm going full in. Just send everything up the front. It could get ugly. Varane is back, so I guess that will be a thing. So,
on paper, City should win this game.
But it's just that magic of the derby, which I get that.
At Old Trafford. If it was at the Etihad, I would be all in for City. But United plays so well at home in the Manchester derby. So I just think they'll do that again. And I swear to God, if Scott McTominay scores, I'm going to be pissed.
Oh, wow. If he's a winner, and if he comes on as a sub and scores twice to equalize and then win it,
that just seems like the kind of shit that's going to happen. Though.
100%. And it'll be one crap goal, and then he'll score an absolute banger as well.
Yeah.
That's all he does.
Yeah.
But otherwise, outside of this one, it's not the most exciting of weekends of football. The other one I guess we can talk about that has some sort of relative close table meaning is Bournemouth hosting Burnley, because those two teams are sitting 18th and 19th in the table, right in the relegation zone. Bournemouth is 19th with 3 points, Burnley with 4. Winner of that jumps out, most likely jumps potentially Well, actually, I'll only jump one spot, jumping over Luton to 17th because there's no way they would catch Everton unless they win by about 10 goals.
Yeah.
There's those goal differences. And that's a huge thing of these bottom three teams. Sheffield United, bottom with 1 point, minus 17 goal difference. Bournemouth, minus 14. Burnley, minus 16. Then it's minus 9 and 5 for Everton and Luton, who are the two teams kind of in that relegation battle as well. So it's a uphill battle for these bottom three. And I don't know what to expect from this one. I don't expect very much in terms of entertainment, but Burnley got the better of Luton when they played, and Bournemouth got thrashed 3-0 by Everton. So we shall see.
Yeah. And these are the games that mean the most for these teams
Mm-hmm.
because the difference between the relegation teams and not even the top, but the middle of the table is actually the largest gap I think I've ever seen. Like 1 point for Sheffield United, and they've looked outclassed in every single game. And every other team, even though they might have a few more points, has looked just as bad. Bournemouth hasn't even won a game yet.
Yeah.
So these are the games that really matter. And I'd love to say home field advantage means a lot, but I just don't think it does at this point. Whoever wins this game, if there is a winner, it will be some shitty set piece goal. It's got to be.
It's going to be a corner where it's a defender misses it. Someone's there just to kind of kick it in and poke it home. That's my prediction.
I'm back in Burnley.
Burnley?
I'm back in Burnley. I backed them to not get relegated before the season started. So I'm going to stay with what I said. I'm going to back them to win this game and to move out of the relegation spot. I got to stick with it. So
I'm going to just go the opposite because, as you said, this is an absolute coin toss of who the hell could win it. But I'm going to take Bournemouth on a terrible set piece to win it. I'll go 1-0. Otherwise, my pick is going to be a 0-0 draw. Absolute dire match of neither team really creating any opportunities, just a midfield battle of God knows what, but we'll see because these teams need something to go their way, and this would be a big one for them to have go their way. But Jackson, any other matches you see on the card for this weekend that interest you at all?
Interested to keep watching Tottenham play.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they've just looked so good on top of the table right now. They're going to Palace, who, again, decent year, 11th place, so they fell out of that top 10.
Yeah.
Still having a decent year. So you never know, but I expect Tottenham to keep doing what they're doing. James Maddison, absolute revelation since moving there. And I've been saying it for years, and I feel so vindicated that he's a good player. I feel so vindicated right now. And he was the player that I picked to be my signing of the season. Mm-hmm. Right now, I think he very well may be on track for that.
Yeah.
He has been so good. So good. And they got him for relatively cheap, all things considered, from a relegated Leicester City. He has been so good providing goals and assists. Son Heung-min as well. Absolute renaissance of a year for him because he struggled quite a bit last year, but ever since Harry Kane's left and he's moved up into that kind of false nine role, he has flourished.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't just played well, he's flourished up there.
7 goals so far.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That duo, that's what was big against Fulham the other week or last Monday was Son scores. I'm pretty sure it was assisted by Maddison. Oh, assisted by Richarlison. Then Maddison scores, assisted by Son. And there was another opportunity those two had, but they kind of almost got in each other's way and just throw their hands up like, what are you doing? I was going to kick it. No, I was going to kick it sort of thing, which that just shows that they both are that hungry to score goals and help this team win and stay top of the table.
Mm-hmm. Which also, going back to this, doesn't Maddison have to be going to the Euros? What do you think?
Another one you would throw in at the moment, I would say yes. He's been superb in the midfield, but it's like the stuff we were saying earlier. Who the hell is he going to drop?
Well, do you play him as a forward or count him more as a mid? You'd have to count him more as a midfielder for sure.
I would think so. But he did actually get the call up last time as one of the forwards.
So do you play him in that forward role and keep him out of the midfield to allow kind of that core, if you would, of Rice, Bellingham, and I don't know, Henderson? play, or do you play more on the wing, or do you find a way to incorporate him into the midfield kind of look?
Honestly, I wouldn't mind if it was like, because I guess the issue is you'll have to play Jude as more of an attacking side. Because I was gonna suggest maybe like Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham, and then Madison kind of in that front, so like almost like a triangle front
Yeah, okay.
three. But then it's like Bellingham is just dangerous in that attacking position, but he can also play the defensive side a bit more than Madison. So I wouldn't mind seeing something like that because it's still Rice will fall back into that defensive spot and it allows Bellingham to move up the field more. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens because that's the issue with England's forwards and even midfields. There's only so much space that it's hard to find a way into the team.
I think he's got to be on the plane, though.
Oh, I agree. I think, if anything, he's there to bring on as a second half substitute late in the second half if you need, or extra time sort of guy.
Yeah.
But Jackson, otherwise, I'm gonna just run through some of these other matches real quick and see if what you want to just do scores, go from there, because it's always good to give quick predictions. Palace, Tottenham. I think we're both going Tottenham.
Both going Tottenham. I'm going 3-1.
All right, I'm going 2-0, like that. Chelsea, Brentford.
This one's a little tougher. I'm not gonna lie. This one's a little tougher than it should be.
I want to say Brentford, but
I'm going Chelsea wins 2-0. But very easily could see Brentford winning this game or getting a point.
Yeah, I could see this being like a 1-1 draw if anything goes Brentford's way, but otherwise I think it'll be like a 2-1 Chelsea win.
All right.
Arsenal, Sheffield United. I think we're both on the same page here. Sheffield United, 5-0. No.
I'm going 3-0.
3-0.
Arsenal.
Yeah, I am as well. I think it'll be quite comfortable, and Arsenal's riding their momentum from a win last weekend and then a win Champions League midweek this week. For that, Wolves, Newcastle. I'm leaning Newcastle, but
dude, Wang Hee-chan's been scoring. He's got 6. But Newcastle wins this game.
Newcastle does, but I think it's closer than it should be. I think without Sandro in that midfield, it's going to be very, very interesting to see. And I think it'll take a little bit for them to, similarly to how Man City kind of took a step back without Rodri in the midfield, I think we'll see a little bit of that. I do think they have enough attacking talent to get it done. I'll go 2-0.
I'm going 1-0. Newcastle.
West Ham, Everton.
West Ham.
Two teams that are so unpredictable, but yeah, West Ham.
West Ham wins this game. They win it by 2 goals. Either 3-1 or 2-0, but they win it by 2 goals.
Yeah, that's going to be a 3-1. How bad does this one get? Aston Villa versus Luton at Villa Park.
Nah, that's the thing.
I see this being like 5-0, 6-0 thrashing, personally.
Yeah, as much as I want to say Luton will show up and they won't score as many because they just scored 4 of the other games, so they surely can't do it again. I'm calling at least 5 goals scored.
Yeah.
5-1.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised one, but I think it's going to be a thrashing. Brighton, Fulham. I want to lean Brighton, but I'm not comfortable. So I think if it is Brighton, it'll be like 2 or 3-1.
I think 2-1's a good shout. Fulham hasn't looked as great.
Mm-hmm.
They don't look bad, but they don't look as great as last year. So Brighton wins 2-1.
Raul Jimenez has been nowhere. He seems like he's always on the field but doesn't do anything.
Yeah, they miss Mitrovic.
Yeah, they really do. Then last one, Liverpool, Notts Forest. I'm going Liverpool. I do think Forest will get a goal, but I think it could be like a 3-1, 4-1 win for Liverpool.
2-0 Liverpool.
2-0. There you have it. We will see how our predictions do come next week.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson, any final words or thoughts on this episode of It's Called Football?
Not really. I'm excited to see the Manchester Derby this weekend. Hoping that United gets something done because that way Arsenal can kind of just move back ahead. Tottenham's probably going to keep on winning too, so Arsenal needs to make sure that they keep up. Manchester City as well, because if they don't win their game, Tottenham's probably going to win theirs because they've been doing it all year. So Tottenham right now is flying, and they're the team that looks like everyone has to kind of keep pace with. So
I will say that's the interesting part of it is Tottenham play on Friday.
Mhm.
As everyone else plays over the weekend. So everyone, Man City and Arsenal more specifically, will know what result they would need necessarily if they were to jump into that top spot in the table, depending on Tottenham's result Friday. But I'm excited for it. It's going to be a good weekend of football. Great week of sports all around. Can't wait. Jackson, it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys, the viewers, for watching. Make sure you click that subscribe button on the Vendetta Sports Media podcast page so you see every episode of It's Called Football and all of our other podcasts done at Vendetta Sports Media. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.